noisy yesterday as well. So this week I'm going to talk about watering your vegetables. And you're probably thinking, wow, just water the vegetables, how hard can it be? There are ways to kind of make your vegetables grow a little bit better, how you water them, especially when it's really hot and dry. And also how you water them will also kind of make the roots grow specific ways. So I don't know if you can see in the background, but I have the sprinkler on the corn. So the corn, as long as it's on there for a long time, it's fine to get sprayed by water. But I do admit that I actually hand water it every second time. However, just wait for this truck here. Tomatoes should never be watered with a sprinkler because if you're already a gardener, I'm sure you come across blight. Blight is when the leaves start turning brown and yellow with lots of spots on them, especially at the bottom. And a lot of times that's because of water splashing up from underneath and splashing on. So spreading water directly on the plants, especially tomatoes, is never a good idea. The other thing you want to avoid is really loud traffic, which I have no control over. Just kidding, that has nothing to do with gardening. The other thing you want to avoid is using cold water. So it looks a little bit disorganized in here because there's buckets everywhere. But what I do is I fill all the buckets up after I'm done every watering and then leave it till the next time I'm watering, and it's not as cold as when it comes out of the hose. We also do have rain barrels. However, this year we've only had like this much rain, so I cannot depend on rain barrels. So if you can't depend on rain barrels and you don't want to use the ice cold water out of your taps, we do have well water, so we don't have to worry about chlorine or anything like that. But in town, you also have to think about that there's different chemicals that are in the water. We're on well water, so we don't need to worry about that. Anyway, so having more temperate water is a little bit better. So what I always do, and I talked about this in a blog on transplanting, is I have a well around each of the plants, like every single plant that I planted, so that you can take like a good helping of water and put it in the well. And I like to keep the well probably about a foot wide, especially with tomato plants, so that the water sinks down the whole foot. As the water sinks down, it will drag the roots, not drag the roots down, but the roots will go with the water down instead of staying at the surface. When you use a sprinkler, you have to make sure to double check that the water actually sank through the ground, because a lot of times it only sinks this far. And then what ends up happening is the plants, their roots grow more at the surface because they're looking for water, especially in a dry year, and the water's at the top. So if you're going to use a sprinkler, make sure that you sprinkle it for a long time. Water. Oh, and the time. I knew there was something else. When you're watering, try to do it during the time of day where the sun isn't at its brightest. So I always wait till at least after 2 o'clock, or later if I can, or really early in the morning. If you do it too much in the middle of the day, on a hot day especially, you're just gonna burn the leaves. Everything's just gonna evaporate off, and it does more damage than good. So here's one of our spaghetti squashes, and as you can see, like, this is just a couple months old. It's just starting to really vine out, but they'll grow over the fence, sometimes 30 feet long, and they like a lot of water. So this is like one margarine container. I will put like 3 or 4 of these in every day, and we put this plastic barrier around. It's just a garden, one of those garden edging things. Put it in a circle around it to hold the water in, so that the water sinks down and the roots go. These are very large plants and they need a lot of water. If you don't give them a lot of water, they won't grow as big and they will not produce that really nice big fruit. This at first sight looks like it's wet. I've been watering it now for about 20 minutes, and yeah, the soil even has water sitting. So if you look over there, the water's actually sitting, and you think, okay, it must be done. Before you take the sprinkler off, just take your finger and go like this. I don't know if you can see this or not, but it is completely dry just below the surface. So if it's completely dry, that is not enough water for these plants.
Been driving down the same old road, same story, same